So the weather's been pretty dreadful lately with strong winds, which we've got today, you know, but a lot of rain as well. But I want to get stuck in here and do a couple of things on the Troopy, and one is to dismantle all this fit out. Now you recall we took all of this stuff out, but we haven't removed it, and we're not going to be reusing this system as it is, so let's just pull it all apart and then I can just stack it as planks in the shed, free up this space. Now the second thing is I wanted to get stuck in and start doing some of the work on it, and I think the best place to start is on the roof. It's not bad. You can see this bubble here, which is probably the most serious part. The rest of it tends to be surface. What we might do is fix all the rust on the roof, prime it and spray it, and we can also at the same time spray the roof rack that was on there, which we took off, as you'll recall. It's sitting around the back here waiting to be reused, but I reckon we might spray that with black, possibly something like Raptor. So let's start dismantling that stuff in the back of the Troopy. Katana. All of that fit out then just really packed down into these pieces, which may or may not have a second life. Where are we up to with the Troopy? Well, nowhere really, but what I want to do is, this rust up here, is just have a quick look at that, because we've just been working on the Nissan Navara Ute roof, and you can have a look at that video as well, but I want to just see what's in under here. So you can see this has been a repair, and there's a section in here which is just bog, and that's another rust hole there. So this might be one where it's worthwhile cutting out a section and welding in a section. But we'll see if we can get some of this bog out. This is exactly as I thought. This, which was a rust patch here, did go all the way through, and this is a previous repair. But it's kind of at that stage where you don't quite know whether to cut a piece out or just treat the rust and fill it with something like fiberglass. I'll see if I can see inside. So not only is there a lip, there's actually also the cover for that cross brace. The only real way to see what's going on inside is to cut a section out, and that to me seems a little dramatic, seeing as the best thing is probably just to look. It's not going to be permanent, and I know that some people will be very critical of it, but at the same time too, how much trouble do you go to when really all we're trying to do is give it another few years? So perhaps the best way really is just to, rather than cut a section out, because that's probably beyond my skill level anyway, but to use fiberglass matting and then body filler. I've got to clean out the gutters too and then refill them with seam sealer. So we'll do all of that at the same time, but let's for now try and treat that rust with a rust converter. Do you remember me saying that, I think it was in Rise of the Troopy Part 2, that I had a someone's upset the plovers, that I had a, is it a Schutzgun or Stutzgun? I can never remember what that is. Anyway, and I said I couldn't find it. Well, look what I unearthed. And it was in the same box where I had that fiberglass matting, because I'd gone looking for the fiberglass matting so I could do something with this. So I've now put on the rust converter, and look, I know that's not the ideal solution, but short of cutting it out, it's the best solution. You're just going to have to trust me. At the end of the day, have a look at this, it's gorgeous. The only sound breaking the silence is must be the end of the day. Look how tired she is. Can't even make it home. It's been a few days and it's late in the day, but I'll just show you what we've been up to. So the other day we cleaned all of this up, took out that bog that was in there, cleaned this up. We put some of the rust converter on it. But the other thing is that we want to clean up in here, in this gutter, all the way along, and reapply seam sealer. So with that in mind, today I picked up the Sikaflex, which is what we'll use as a seam sealer katana. Silly old Ellen, hey love. Carefully fall down. That's right. Well, look, someone rushed to my aid. Now the only hat, what have you been rolling in? Have a look at this dog. Just have a look at this. See that crusty stuff? I have no idea what that is. Yeah, like I said, the only thing hurt is my pride, so no harm done at all. So the other thing that we wanted to do here too was put that radio back in, but we never got ourselves an aerial, so the radio at the moment is just sitting there, as you can see, assuming you can see. The issue we had with the radio aerial was that once we got it through that hole, and you know, I can show you that in the guard, I couldn't get that nut back on to hold it there. So I think that we'll give up on the Air Pro, which is obviously the the economy brand and look at something like a GME, which is Australian made and also you know, made for commercial use rather than just, you know, cheap consumer stuff. So this is the hole in the guard that we need to get it through. There's a couple of options. One is the is put a bracket of some sort there so you can mount the aerial on that. Well, the other, of course, is an undermount, but I don't know whether the bracket might be the easier way to go. Now you'll recall too that we did this this strip underneath here, and it's held up pretty well. It's only ever a temporary fix. Likewise, we painted this, and that actually looks okay too. But they are jobs for some time in the future when we'll do a proper job by removing the windscreen rubber and screen altogether, and then we can clean up around the whole of the windscreen surround. So today what we're going to do is we're going to clean out part of this gutter, you know, from say here to here or something like that, but just on either side of this cavity here, so that we can then spray some kill rust into the cavity in preparation for fiberglassing. And we'll enjoy some tea while we're at it. So we've washed it, and then I rinsed it down with metho. The reason I use methylated spirits instead of terps is because terps is hydrophilic or hydroscopic or hydrographic or hydromatic, and so it helps the water evaporate. But I'm not necessarily saying you should, only that this is what I do. We're using in this case a rust coat epoxy enamel metal protection. We've sprayed that rust coat into that little cavity and around it. What we'll do is let it dry for a bit, then we'll put some primer into the gutter. We're back again, and it's mighty hot today. Earlier today I was doing some brush cutting over there in the garden area, and I just couldn't do very much for very long before I got exhausted. It's not only is it hot, but I spoke about, you know, some of the health issues I've been having. In brief, you know, I'm finding that neuromuscular disorder that I have is not being managed well, and so I'm finding myself fatigued and breathless fairly readily. Anyway, what we have today is a couple of things. In the distance here you can see the little BMW that I bought, and by now you will have also seen the introductory video to that. And behind me, of course, is the Troopy, and just on the other side there is the Navara. Now we're working on all three of these at the moment, at various times, depending on what it is that I feel in the mood to do. And we're up to a couple of things. So with the BMW, I need to pull out the alternator because it's not charging. With the Nissan, I need to rub down that roof for spraying on some top coat. And then on this, I'm actually at the point where I've got, believe it or not, a new aerial. Now you saw the struggles that I had with that other one that I had, which was an Air Pro, and the issue with that was, well, first of all, it was very flimsily made, but secondly, when it came up through the hole, there just wasn't enough thread on top for me to be able to secure it. So I'm hoping that this here, and I just got myself a new tool, one of these little multi-tools, which is complete with a little pair of scissors and blades and things, but it's just a little mini version, so like a Swiss Army knife. Anyway, it has a blade, and if we open this up, and find, apart from paper and things, an aerial. Now this is a GME, which is, I believe, an Aussie brand. Now I don't know whether this is actually made in Australia. Yeah, it is made in Australia, so one expects slightly better quality than a lot of that other imported stuff. And this here, we'll open her up and show you, comes in two parts. So one is the aerial itself, which is a whip aerial, and the other is the base, and the base itself comes up from underneath. So GME make UHF radios and UHF aerials as well, but this is tuned for AM FM. And because they're built really to mount on a bull bar, they come with a 5-meter cable instead of the usual 1.2. So anyway, this is the base here, and this part here comes off. I won't take it apart for you right now, but this part here, that screws on there, like so. But this nut comes off. This comes up from underneath. The rubber grommet here goes on top, and then it's all tightened down. So this, I hope, should be long enough for us to be able to skewer it to underneath. We'll find out when we try and fit it. So I've cleaned it all up. Let's get some fiberglass.